Hi, I'm Wayne Banker. I got into electronics when I was in junior high school, and along came CB radio about in the middle of the 60s or the early 60s, and got kind of interested in that. And that was back before CB radio became what it is today. There was actually some good language and nice people on it. And then I listened to a lot of shortwave radio. In fact, I built a 1-tube and a 2-tube receiver when I was in junior high school, and that got me interested. I actually built a CB transmitter, and a friend of mine and I, which lived about 5 miles apart, used to talk to each other. But then after that, we progressed on into ham radio, and I met up with a fellow that I worked with, and he got me interested in ham radio and actually gave me the test. So I've been a ham radio operator for 50 years, registered in 1965. And back then you had to learn the code, and you had to learn the code to 5 words a minute. And Linda actually helped me learn the code before we were married. And I got my license just about the time we were married. So that's how I got into ham radio. Ham radio is kind of a neat hobby. It lets you communicate with people locally and around the world. I communicate with people mainly locally, and was involved with one of the first repeater systems in Arkansas, which is still in operation today. The repeater is a device that actually relays the radio signals and is usually on a mountaintop. And our first repeater was on Chenal Mountain in Little Rock. We have repeaters practically all over the state now, and some of them are actually linked together, so we have a statewide communications network. Also, being involved in electronics helped me get a pretty good job with Southwestern Bell, which I enjoyed. Then I went from Southwestern Bell to AT&T, and then AT&T to Lucent Technologies, and retired from Lucent Technologies in 2000. About that time I retired, I wanted to build a new house, and we had bought some property here in Hot Springs. And so we made some plans and went to work building it. And one of the things that I wanted to have in the house was a room for Linda and I to be able to create and pursue our hobbies together. I think that being together is really helpful. She has her sewing, and I have my electronic shop, and then I have behind over here in the corner another door that goes into sort of a hardware shop where I build woodworking and some metalworking. So we're all right down here together in the basement, and she helped me build the whole house and put everything together. And in fact, was a pretty good carpenter when we got through, and I'm real proud of her for that. Behind me is some of the equipment that I use to work on radios and repeaters and electronics. I still like to do it. It's getting a little bit challenging because the size of the new equipment is just shrinking down to the point where you have to have a microscope to look at it, but I still enjoy working on it. This is what they call an HF radio. It's high frequency, and you can talk around the world. I've got 3 antennas that I use with it. This is a FM radio. It's also a digital radio, and you can talk locally with it and throughout the repeaters throughout the state. And of course, that's a power supply, and that's a 6-meter radio, and it's used to talk just around the state on a different frequency.
Now, I remember one time that microphone is pretty easy to use.
Yes, one time it got flipped on the transmit, and it was on for a couple of hours, locking up a repeater in Little Rock, and that was from El Dorado, Arkansas, which is a long way away.
Well, I had a bird who liked your microphone.
Yeah, he used to jump up and down on it too.
He would key it up, right?
I don't think the bird was heavy enough to key it up, but
I heard him key it up one time.
He may have. Who knows?
So the cockatiel had a ham radio license.
I suppose. Okay, behind me is the operating position where I talk from most of the time. There's various radios that cover different frequencies. This radio here is for local communications. This is for long distance. And this is another frequency that covers kind of an intermediate area around the state. And this is an amplifier that actually boosts the signal up a little bit. It's not one of the big powerful ones, but it works fine. Then I've got a computer, and we have a weather radar, and we are involved with what they call Skywarn. And Skywarn actually is a group of amateurs that relays ground truth information back to the Weather Bureau for broadcast out on the air. So that's what we do here. And if you'll pan to the left, there's Linda, and this is our kitchen, the rest of our kitchen. So not only are we together downstairs at our hobbies, we're up here in the kitchen.
Say hi, Mom.
Hey. Cheese dip.
Looks like Paula Deen.
Cooking in a Paula Deen pot.